Are you ready, eager young space cadets?
Meep, meep.
I saw a pussy cat.
That is the limit!
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Hello, everyone. We are back, and I'm so excited because Coyote Vs Acme is right around the corner, August 28th. You know the date. You probably already have your ticket, but just in case, go buy your ticket right now. Stop what you're doing, go buy a ticket, and then come back because we are here talking with Carlos Lutterbach, one of the storyboard artists. He was a story artist, a 2D animator, a sketch viz, and head of animation for the final delivery on Coyote vs. Acme. So he knows the ins and outs. He was there from the beginning. Carlos, first of all, how are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Jonathan, it's a pleasure to meet you. We had a chance to talk a little bit, but I'm very excited to talk about the movie. More excited
Yes.
that the movie is coming out. I'm counting the days to see it. So
Same here. I cannot wait to see it again. Obviously, the people that have been following the Instagram know that I got to go to San Diego Comic-Con and get a very early preview screening of the film alongside Lana Condor and Dave Green. And I just am enamored by the scope of this. I love the visual elements. I love how the animation is integrated into the live action. So just starting off, what was it about Wile E. Coyote that attracted you to this project?
Oh, wow. Well, that's actually a very simple answer because I grew up with a character. I grew up in Brazil, and we used to have the Warner Brothers cartoons playing on TV, and I believe they still do. So I had no idea when I was a kid that cartoons were, not of my time. And that speaks to the fact that they're really timeless, right? And
They truly are.
Whitey is just this, you know, he just never gives up. He's just this character that it's one of the most human of all of the characters that ever been in a short format on the screen. He's funny, but we in a sense we're all Wiley. so, so I think that's part of it. Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
was
definitely.
when I first got the call, and I was like, "Oh, really? I get to work with Whitey Coyote and these amazing characters." And I read the script, and that was also great. So yeah, no, it was just a yes from the moment that "Would you like?" was already a yes.
So in the past, you had worked with some really great creative teams, but this one is kind of unmatched in that you were working with some really like top tier talent. Can you talk a bit about the team and the people you got to work with for this project?
Yes. Thank you for bringing them up because really it was such a collaborative effort.
Mm.
As you know, Dave Green was our director, and Chris DeFaria was our creative producer, and they set the tone to how the whole experience to be in the movie and how we were going to work so collaboratively. And then that meant that when we were in the day-to-day of making the movie, it was always this collective thing that we did. We had Ryan Delaney was our animation producer, Andy Brooks, Tabitha O'Connell, Max Ogini, Rachel Godowski. Then we had Jay Rand, Jay Clark, Ed Roberts, Heidi Madsen, Ellen Henry, Angeline, Gary, Kat, Pia, Michael Douglas, not to mention Dora Jordan Ray, and our incredible VFX producer, George Murphy, and of course, the head of animation for the movie that later I got to come in and take over once he left. It was incredible, Keith Roberts. The other crucial part of the filmmaking process that we haven't discussed is editorial. We had this movie that had these two very different ways of, it's combining two different ways of approach filmmaking. In one side, you have animation, which is quite deliberate, and you plan for it, and you start with storyboards, and you build performances, in our case, via sketch viz. And then later you go into the animation process. You might be doing it in 2D, you might be doing it in CGI, depending on what the scene or the sequence is. And then on the other side, you have live action, which is capturing live performances with the conditions of the day. And then, of course, on top of that, you're going to have your VFX best. You're going to have music. You're going to have sound effects, voices, and all of those bits that come together to make the final frame that we watch in the cinema. So you need, in a movie like this, editor that understands both worlds and that has the sensibility to deal with each element and giving each element the necessary space for it to breathe and exist in the film as they should. And of course, we had Carson Koparnik, which is fantastic, and he was is one of these rare talents that understands animation timing and can look at static drawings and understand and see how they're going to be once they go into full animation and create the necessary space for these drawings to breathe in the cut, but also understands live action and understands how to cut for live action, which is its own discipline and it, has its own demands. So yeah, we were very lucky to have Karsten. But all of these
Fantastic.
people, we were in. We got really close, and it was a day to day together in the studio. Of course, in the beginning we were uh, online and we were talking over Zoom and all of that. But pretty soon we were in the studio at DNEG. We had our room, and it was, I don't know, just an incredible experience.
Wow, I can't imagine the level of creativity that was bouncing off those walls. So, whenever you got to start animating and bringing stuff to life, what was a sequence or something about the comedy that you guys were doing that really allowed for improv or, creative ideas to just be injected into plus scenes? Like what was an example of that you were really proud of?
That's a funny question because the humor is so inherent to the characters. I think that the bits that I'm the most proud of are the ones that felt like were coming from Wiley.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, when you're making an animated movie, you have these moments in which you have to be funny, but when you have a character like that, it's the situations sort of present themselves.
Sure.
To me, I think this is in the trailer when we have him in the conference room, for instance,
Mhm.
and we had these lawyers talking to one another, and now we have this question: what is it that Wiley does when he's not the one leading the action? So there was a lot of humor that was about keeping him alive, like he's this guy that is always thinking, he always has a plot, he never goes into a situation passively. And I think finding a way to make those little bits of him funny where he's reacting to situations rather than leading the situation but still feeling like Wiley himself,
Yes.
that was a very cool thing to explore. And I would say that the big challenge when you have a character like this that lives within 7 minutes at a time in its original format is to keep him alive when you go to a full feature length movie. And I think the fact that we kept him thinking, the fact that we kept him reacting and always, knowing why he was there in that scene. I don't think there's a single scene in a movie in which there's no reason for him to be there. So I think that was the bit that I'm very proud of because I think he lives. I hope you agree, but I think he lives throughout the movie as himself.
I definitely agree, and it really did feel like you were channeling the inner Maltese in you and writing for this character because he just feels like he's alive there alongside Will Forte at every step of the way. And, that scene where he takes the check that they're trying to give him to, quiet him, and he just rips it up and then pours a bunch of gasoline on it and lights it on fire, and it blows everyone away. I just thought that was definitely a calculated move, and you saw it coming, because you can't keep this character down. He's the embodiment of persistence, and thankfully, that's the whole theme of what happened behind the scenes with this movie, as well as getting this movie in theaters. And he just never gives up, and we never give up on him. And I love that this just exemplified that nature, and his you know number one trait always kept him going no matter what.
Yeah,
And
and I think this is what what we are talking about before, is that's the humanity of it, isn't it? Like
Yes.
we face life, and there are moments I think don't go our way, and the only option is to get up and try again, and then it doesn't work, and you get up and try again. And he is the embodiment of that. It's like he is the archetype for the guy that never gives up. He is the intelligent. He's a super genius, right? He
Super
is so
genius.
smart, but things just don't go his way, right? But he keeps going, and I think that's quite relatable. But yeah, but there's this aspect of him. He does everything silently, right? He's a silent guy. He doesn't speak. He only uses his signs. So everything that we have to work with him really is his body language, his facial expression. That luckily he's so expressive. So there was a lot of places to go there and a lot of things to explore.
That was one of my questions as well, is did that create any opportunity that you wouldn't have had he been a talking character?
Absolutely. I think with anything, when you establish parameters and there are limitations, that's the thing that makes you be creative. I think when I was mentioning all those people that worked in the movie with me, there's so many things that have come out of just everyone expressing themselves without speaking through the character, right?
Yeah.
And there's little gestures, little with him especially, because if you look at his face, a slight change on the position of his eyebrow really affects how you read his expression. Where his eyelids land affects how you read his expression. He's super super plastic, his face.
Mm.
So, but I think if he was a speaking character, we definitely wouldn't have as good of a movie.
You also got to work with another nonverbal character in the Roadrunner, and he is just lightning fast wherever he goes. Did you have any say on his speed or velocity, or
It's too
how
fast
he
for you to catch him. The trick with
yes.
the Roadrunner is that if you, he only has two speeds, right? Either he's there or he isn't. I remember there was one scene. I don't think it's in the trailer, so I'm not gonna speak to it. But there's a scene that you see him just moving into frame, and so much of it is just an indication that he has arrived. He's just too fast for you to even know that he's gotten there. So the
Yeah.
Roadrunner, the thing with him, it's really about his relationship with Wiley.
Mhm.
And I think we understand him through Wiley, but also we understand Wiley through him. And it's just like there's cannot be one without the other, right? He is the mountain you hope to climb and you can never get to the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's just super fast. But I think it's just a symbolism of what the character is. He's also immune to everything, isn't it, in the original cartoons?
He is. Yeah, definitely. He always bounces back.
Yeah. Is the mountain will fall before he falls with the mountain, right?
Exactly. The road will fall to meet Wiley instead of rise to meet him. What is your favorite Acme product, or do you have one? Because it feels like you guys continued the catalog that was started back in the late 40s, early 50s, and it just keeps going, and everything that's added to this catalog of Acme products, it just feels right.
Man, that's a tough question. I mean, of course, we love an anvil and bombs. Because
Sure.
it's sort of like the standard what we say in Brazil is the rice and beans of the comedy there. But
Yes.
I think my favorite product is, I don't know if it's in the trailer, so I don't know if I can say it, but it's a wearable product that is actually used by one of the known cartoon characters. But
Okay.
there were many things. I mean, you saw the chicken gun in the in the trailer.
Yes.
That was fun to work with. Yeah, no, there's many there's many products.
I love that. And speaking of the chicken gun that Tweety wields, you have a background with that because you were able to adjust it in a certain way. Could you talk a bit about your
Yeah.
inspiration there and how we came about getting the chicken gun as it appears in the film?
Oh wow, I can't believe you asked me that. But okay. So when there was this idea of the chicken gun, I don't quite remember where the idea of the chicken gun came from.
Okay.
Somehow it landed with me to do drawings for the chicken guns. So I was doing
Yes.
pages and pages of different chicken guns. And we had this one meeting. So this is one thing you have to understand about how cool it was to work in this movie. There was such a collaborative atmosphere that you could raise your hand and take risks, and you could say things that you think, this is really silly, I should probably not be saying that. But this was the situation. So we had the discussion, and I mean, everybody in the movie, that, you know, the whole leadership of the film is there. We have the story artist there. We all talking about, well, how we're going to do the chicken gun. And then in the middle of it, I realized that the eggs, they were being expelled from the mouth of the chicken.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, what if we turn the chicken gun around? And I thought, should I say it? Should I not say it? And then I raised my hand and said, what if? And I thought it was just going to be, you know, and then people laughed. I thought, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. That's how it should be. So,
It is how it should be, and I'm glad it's that way. So thank you for that contribution.
I always thought it would be funny if they made it into a prop, you know.
Oh, definitely. I'm just glad that it allowed that environment allowed for risk taking, because it does
Oh,
show
absolutely.
it does show throughout the film that there are so many sight gags that it could have only come out from a collaborative, space like this, where it was open to suggestion, and the creativity was flowing. I mean, this is as funny and as creative as an early Pixar movie. Like, everything is firing and everything is working, and I was just having a ball with everything that I was seeing on screen. So
Oh, I'm
thank
so
you, and thank the
uh,
team.
come on, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, like the thing with this movie is that I could go around and say, "Oh, that's my sequence," but equally, you know, everyone that worked the movie can go around and say, "That's my sequence,"
Yeah.
because we all work together on all of it. You know, when it has been a while since I've seen it, but I have it in my mind, all of these moments and conversations with individual people. You know, when you're working in animation, you're trying to make it believable, right? So
Mhm.
one way, or maybe the way that you make something believable, even when you have a slapstick comedy character, is really by relating to your own experiences. So
Sure.
yeah, throughout the movie, there are moments that I would see my son in the movie, that I would see my daughter, because there are
Oh,
little mannerisms and things that go through you, because they are true emotion, right? And it really through the people that you love, that you end up, and that also goes for the comedy, right? It's the
yeah.
moments that you are silly, or and by the way, this is what I'm saying. I'm sure everyone else that work in the movie can say these things as well. They will have moments that they will recognize some deep part of themselves and the people they love in the characters. And I think this is why the character is so relatable.
Definitely. I love that you have little Wileys running around.
Oh yeah, we have a little puppy now that we named Wiley.
See, that's just so perfect. And it continues this trend of people that are super invested in the characters. They have this admiration and love for them, and they're the ones that get to work on this. I mean, this is a passion project through and through, and I'm so so excited for people to see it. Now, whenever you are working with live action, do you get the plates and, like, you see the Albuquerque desert, and then do you animate on top of that, or are you animating regardless of what is being shot for live action?
So the whole process for this movie was quite unique. We started with obviously the script, and then we had a storyboard pass, and then many things happened during the storyboard pass, because you're looking for to punch up the comedy. You're looking for how do you translate words into images and all of that. So the second phase we had was a pre-visualization phase, and then at that point we didn't have yet the final plates for the movie, but we had already some image that we could work on top of. So what we do is this thing called sketch visualization, which is essentially you animate 2D over the plates, and it's a simplified version of the 2D animation. It's the intention is to nail down performance. So you may have 4 drawings per frame, or you may have 2 drawings per frame. You have 6 drawings per frame, you may have 30. It's going to be whatever the need is to just land on the performance, right?
Sure.
And then when we had the movie was, the team went to Albuquerque and the movie was filmed. we come back with the plate. So let's say White is in the desert, then that means that when you're drawing now, you're drawing on top of that live action footage, right?
Mhm.
So the whole logic of it, and also again, it's one of these things that really made the movie work and goes back to how Chris organized the production, is uh, it gives this opportunity for the director to be directing these, imaginary characters much longer with much more detail before it goes into final animation. Because once you go into the final animation, you have these steps that will happen, and it's sort of like, you need to get through the shots, and your opportunities to fine tune performance, they get diminished. So the idea wasn't really to tell what the CGI animators would do with the characters. It was just giving them a starting point so they can take and do their own craft and plus it, which they absolutely did. Had some really talented people working on Wile E and bringing him to life. So yeah, so that's the process. I guess one way to think about it is that each stage has a function, and you're trying to build on the stage that came before.
Okay.
But that's how the sketch realization bit works. I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense, and I love that process, and I think that it translated really well to the final product. And I gotta say, I really love all of the on model Wile E. Coyote shots. I feel like he's never off model. He's always, you could pluck him out of this movie and put him into his own short at any point, and it would like align with what Chuck Jones was doing. And
Yeah, there was a lot of work that the people at DNEG did, because it's very tough to get these characters that are meant to be seen and to be drawn in 2D, and to make they survive as a 3D character without losing their character, right?
yes,
Yeah, so when you were talking about this movie, again, you have so many technical artists, you have so many modelers and animators that did the CGI side of the shot. This is really again, a shout out to Keith Roberts, who led the animation there. It's
fantastic work.
yeah, it's really really great work. And again, there were people from all over the world, really talented people. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be associated with all of them.
So I have a character question for you. As obviously it was in the script that Foghorn Leghorn is on the side of Acme. His size is very interesting, and you have John Cena looking way up to Foghorn Leghorn. Was his size always that big, or was that ever up for debate?
Um, so Foghorn, really, a lot of like the magic of Foghorn in this movie, I think
Yeah.
it originated with Andrew Brooks, because he sort of took the lead with that character,
Okay.
and he had this interpretation of him that I think when you see him, part of what reads as his being this big guy is the way that Andy approached the character, because it seems larger than life, right? He just acts with such authority
Definitely.
that yeah. So I don't remember him being physically smaller at any point, but I think that when Andy started to work with the character, he already, just had this feeling for how he would be, So that's my impression. It would be nice to ask him, but that was my impression. I remember seeing his first sketch viz of Foghorn,
Yeah.
and it was just everybody just loved him. They were like, "Oh, this is so cool."
He is so cool. He's very intimidating, and even John Cena is intimidated by him, which is a unusual aspect in one of
Yeah,
these films.
that's an interesting thing that it's funny. No one had brought that up before, actually. What is interesting to me is that when you pair Foghorn with John Cena, it works, right?
Mhm.
But equally, when you pair Will with Wiley, it also works. And Will is an extremely funny guy, and somehow sometimes when you have two very strong comedy leads, they clash, and then there's this outdo each other type of a thing.
Right.
And it really isn't the case in this movie, because Will had his own way of bringing comedy to his character, and Wiley was just the two of them spoke to each other, I thought, very well.
Yeah, and I always liked that casting because it felt like Will Forte could definitely channel Wile E's voice for him, which is essentially what he's doing. Not that well, but he's trying to do it while he's in the courtroom, and I always loved that pairing as well.
Yeah, no, he's an incredible actor. I
He
had a chance
is.
to meet him, and sweetest guy.
Oh, awesome. I love to hear that. So we were also talking before the show about the Looney Bin and having a bunch of Looney Tunes cameos. Now, what was the process of grabbing a character from the classic shorts and bringing them into this film?
So that's a funny question, because we had all of these. The catalog is enormous, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you have all of these characters. Some of them are like, "Oh my God, that guy exists!" Because it's been such a long time since you see him in a short. So there was this real joy of finding who was interesting to bring in. That scene, it was Ed Roberts' scene. He animated most of those characters, and I think there was
Wow.
an element of pitching it to Dave and saying, and Dave had some preferences. Obviously, he's the director, and he had a vision for everything. He always had this really strong feeling of what he wanted for the movie, which made it very easy to work on it. To be honest,
Hmm.
because we just supported his vision, right? But
Yeah.
I remember having a lot of conversations, and they're like, "Oh, what if we bring this guy over here? What would be funny for that?" And there are some sequences. I'm pretty sure that's not in the trailer, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what it was. But there's characters. We tried different characters for different roles, and the question is, who is the most appropriate and funniest for
Mm.
this position? And again, for the humor to come from the character, not from us trying to make the character funny.
Yes.
The
That's
beauty of
what
the Looney Tune characters is if you let them be who they are, they just are funny.
Yes, exactly. That's what I respect about this movie is the conversation it's having with the audience, whereas the characters are playing not only like themselves, but themselves in this reality where Acme is this evil.
I love this question because it just shows to me how well beloved the whole uh, classic Warner Brothers cartoons are. That people are excited about seeing this, not very featured character in a frame. And when I saw comments online when the first trailer came out, they said people like, "Oh my God, I saw this one," and then people like doing inventory of who is in the movie.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, it's super cool. It's like it's humbling, because when you are in the process of working on something like this, you're just immersed in it. You're having a lot of fun and very very grateful for being able to work with these characters, but you don't know how it will be perceived once it goes out in the world, right? You're trying to do justice, and you're trying to do justice to the people that invented these characters, for the cartoons that you watched as a kid. But you
Yes.
really just don't know, right? It's only when it goes out into the public that you get that sense. And one of the things that was quite interesting for us is that a lot of these secondary characters were animated by hand,
Mhm.
because it was just more direct, easier to do them by hand rather than rig every single character that had a smaller part.
Sure.
And we had this team, our story team, that was our storyboard team, became a sketch viz team, and then became an animation team. And this really phenomenal group of cleanup artists came into the studio. Ryan had he left, and then had Heidi Madsen take over the production for the department, and she put together this incredible team of cleanup artists to support the animators. And it's such a beautiful skill that
Yeah.
it's undervalued. I think people don't quite realize how amazing it is when you have you do this animation that is a bit rough, and then you have this person with this incredible skill give that final line that brings the character to life. It's the line you see on the screen. It was just a great group of people to work with, and veterans of the industry.
Absolutely. I mean, it just leaps off the page, like leaps off the screen really. The love and care that went into crafting the characters and making sure that people recognize them for who they are, and that they are true to themselves in the visual aspect. Was there a
Yeah.
character that you were excited to work with other than Wile E. Coyote?
Yeah, all of them.
Great answer.
All of them, really. I mean, it's funny because I got to do sketch viz on Bugs,
Exactly, exactly.
and that was super cool.
Uh-huh.
It was animated by Duncan Studios, and they did a phenomenal job. But I got to work with a character on the planning phase, so that was really cool. I wasn't the only one, but I got to do a lot of that sequence. Um, it's I got to do a little bit of Tweety. Tweety is awesome. Just it is very,
I
very.
love Tweety in this movie.
Yeah, I wish I had worked more with Granny. I did a little bit, but not as much.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think there were some funny ones. There's some original characters in the movie that you never seen before, but they were just they fit within the environment. I don't know if anybody even realized that they were not original characters. But yeah, no, that's a very interesting thing. Yeah, it's just so much fun because it's unbelievable every time that a character that you assign to work with one of these characters, and you're like, wow, I get to draw this one.
Yeah, and I love that Porky has a few moments within this movie. And, I think he's one of the underrated comedic reliefs of the Looney Tunes in general. And I love that they utilized him in the way that they did, especially around the painting. I won't give anything
I
away.
animated that scene.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
I
Uh,
love Daffy in that scene as well.
Daffy's
Um,
awesome in that scene.
he's so good. He's so good in that, like, the switch that happens. I clocked it and I loved it.
Yeah, I think that was I might be. I think that was like the crazy bit. At least some of it was Ryan Kramer. It's like we had these story artists from in the US, because we had a team in the UK and then a team in the US. Ryan Kramer and David Gemmell.
Yes.
Which you know them, you have mentioned them before in your
From Looney
podcast.
Tunes cartoons. Yep.
Yes, yeah, they're fantastic, and they're some of the funniest people that I've ever met and worked with. And they're very like they you talk to them, they're very calm, and then they come up with the funniest drawing you've ever seen in your life. So and it was so cool to and they had lived with these characters in other incarnations, right,
Yes.
throughout their careers. So it was very interesting to work with them. And sometimes we would be pitching gags, and typically they had the funniest gags. But every now and again, I got one of mine in, and I mean, I'll tell you, there's so much more that didn't make into the movie that was absolutely hilarious.
I hope we get the full gamut of that in the deleted scenes or something on the Blu-ray, where we get to see all of the artwork and all the behind the scenes stuff that went into this. Because yeah, I can imagine that all that exists somewhere, and I hope we get to see it.
Yeah, well, when you work in a movie, right, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think this is especially true of animated movies.
Hmm.
There is the movie you see on the screen, and then there is 99 other movies that existed in some point in time in the process of making that one that you got to see at the end.
Yeah.
And what you hope is that the last version is the one that is the best, which I think with this one, it is as good as we could have made it. Of course, if we got more time and more resources, we would continue working on it, because I think that's what anyone would do with a piece of art. But there is a lot that happened. And also, uh, when you go see and you work in one of these things and you go see it with your family, it's really sort of like this full circle type of thing, because you've been away from your family and hours working. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved every minute of it, but you're hoping that in the end you have this experience with them. And yeah, I'm glad we're gonna have it.
Yeah, me too. I cannot wait for families to see this. I think that's a good note to end this little, hors d'oeuvre of a full-long spoiler-filled interview with you, because I want to ask about so many other things, but I don't want to let people know, too much about what's in here. I will just leave with this last question. And is there a moment or a piece of this that you're most proud of that you can't wait for people to see how people react to it?
I think it wouldn't be a moment. It would be the emotional side that we build up to.
Okay.
So it's really the emotional payoff. It would be, I mean, of course there's like individual sequences that you work on that you're proud of and that you have all these memories attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'm going to be surprised when I watch it because it's been a few years since I got to see the movie.
Sure.
But it's really the thing with comedy is that it allows you to get an audience guard down.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and again, you may earn a moment of true empathy. And if we are able to land those with audiences, that would be the thing that I would be the most proud of. That and keeping the characters feeling like themselves and alive throughout the film.
Absolutely. Very well said. And I look forward to hearing and reading all of the comments from you listeners after you've seen it, what you thought, and did those emotional moments land for you? I want to hear it. And thank you, Carlos, for being on the show with me. Where can people find you online? Because I know people want to look for your artwork wherever you're posting it.
Oh yeah, so we would think that I know at the top of my hand all of the handles, right? But, I think I'm under Carlos Lutterbach, Cale Lutterbach, Lutterbach on Instagram. There might be a dash there somewhere. Yeah, I think that's probably the easiest place to find me. I also have a small animation studio, Nebuline Pictures. And you can find me there as well.
Awesome. Yes, follow Carlos on Instagram. He needs more followers, but also just check out the artwork and just the extensive deep dives that he's doing from what he's posting, and obviously the work that he's doing with the studio. Everything coming out of this man is incredible. So thank you, Carlos, for
really
working on this movie.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. I really do appreciate it. And may I say, we were talking earlier about how a piece of art only really just happens when people see it.
Yes.
And to have seen even before the movie came out, just your voice to try and make people realize that there's value to the work that was done in this film and fight for it. And everyone and people that you're never gonna know who they are that went out and really supported the movie. I'm really grateful. And I think that, everyone that supported the movie now are part of the story of this movie, which makes you a part of the story of these characters. So thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. I really appreciate that. And a huge thank you to Catch Up Entertainment as well, and everybody over there for believing in this project as well and recognizing the art that went into it. So, as always, that's not all, folks. You can follow us over at This Means Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and Threads, and everywhere online. I'll be posting about Coyote Vs Acme for the end of time. And I hope you are too. I hope you go out and buy a ticket, support this movie, and tell your friends, tell your family. This is one not to miss this summer. All right, everyone. You know what to do. Take care.
I heard we have ourselves a great movie.
Pretty flattering. Think things like this make us look pretty good in the public eye.
The reactions are in. Coyote vs. Acme is a smash.
Exactly. It's funny, am I right?
Not entirely necessary. You're kind of a psychopath, aren't you?
Coyote vs. Acme, rated PG.